10 trucks. Dozens of girls? They thought the night would hide them, but Ibrahim Traoré was already on the trail. In a daring, calculated mission, he tracked the traffickers, prepared his team, and moved to intercept. Tonight, courage, strategy, and determination would decide the fate of innocent lives. Ibrahim Traoré knew that acting fast was the only way to save the girls. The tip he received was precise. 10 trucks, loaded with traffickers, were planning to cross the border under the cover of night. Every second counted. Traoré didn't panic. Instead, he mapped out the convoy's route in his mind, memorizing every checkpoint, rest stop, and back road. He reached out to his trusted contacts, discreetly assembling a small but highly effective team. Local guides, sympathetic officials, and volunteers who understood the stakes joined him. Each member knew that this mission wasn't just about stopping criminals, it was about saving lives. The convoy moved silently, but Traoré had eyes everywhere. Through careful observation and coded messages from his informants, he tracked the trucks without alerting the traffickers. He studied their timing, noting when the drivers would slow down at checkpoints or rest areas. He analyzed every detail, the type of vehicles, the route, and the risk points where girls could be most vulnerable. Traoré knew he had to be precise. Any misstep could mean disaster. He reached a decision. The trucks had to be intercepted strategically. One by one, checkpoints would be manned by official authorities, ready to stop the convoy legally. Safe zones were prepared for the girls once they were rescued. Traoré coordinated silently with his team, instructing them to report anything unusual immediately. He reminded them, this wasn't a battle, it was a rescue. Every second mattered, and every action had to be calculated. As the first trucks came into view, tension rose. Traoré's team watched from concealed positions, communicating through small radios. They spotted the first truck slowing at a rest stop. Traoré's heart pounded, but his face remained calm. Signals were exchanged, and volunteers quietly surrounded the area. He waited for the exact moment, ensuring the girls could be extracted safely. One girl peered out from under a tarp, fear in her eyes, completely unaware that help had arrived. Traoré took a deep breath, steadying himself for the operation ahead. He knew that the next minutes would decide the fate of dozens of innocent lives. Every decision had to be perfect. The night was tense, silent but charged with urgency. And in the shadows, Traoré prepared to strike, to stop the traffickers and rescue the girls before it was too late. Ibrahim Traoré moved quickly but with absolute precision. The convoy of 10 trucks was approaching a critical junction, the perfect spot for interception. He had already coordinated with local officials, border patrol officers, and trusted volunteers, ensuring that every possible angle was covered. His mind was a steel trap. Every detail of the operation had to be flawless. Any miscalculation could put the girls' lives at risk. The trucks rolled silently along the darkened road, their headlights cutting through the night like blades. Traoré's team was in position, hidden from sight yet ready to act. Volunteers monitored side roads while officials discreetly prepared legitimate checkpoints. The goal was clear: stop the trucks without alerting the traffickers prematurely and extract the girls safely. Traoré's calm demeanor inspired confidence. Everyone trusted his experience and judgment. As the first truck neared the checkpoint, Traoré signaled his team. Volunteers discreetly guided the vehicle into a controlled inspection zone. The driver, unaware of what awaited, slowed, and officers stepped in to verify documents. Hidden compartments were discovered, confirming Traoré's intelligence. The girls inside were terrified but unharmed. Their relief was palpable as Traoré quietly reassured them, whispering, "You're safe now. Stay calm, help is here." The next trucks were trickier. Some attempted to bypass minor roads, hoping to avoid attention. But Traoré had anticipated this. Scouts positioned along alternative routes radioed every movement, allowing his team to redirect vehicles into controlled zones. Each interception required split-second timing, but Traoré remained composed, issuing orders in calm, deliberate tones. "Hold the line. No sudden moves. Watch every corner." Between stops, he moved swiftly from checkpoint to checkpoint, checking on both volunteers and rescued girls, ensuring safety and morale. Every successful interception built momentum and confidence. The traffickers were beginning to realize that their plan had been compromised, panic creeping into their ranks. But Traoré's presence was commanding, measured, unwavering, and focused on saving lives, not punishing criminals. By the time the convoy reached the most critical checkpoint, the largest and most fortified truck, Traoré was ready. The girls inside were scared, but they could sense someone had come for them. He stepped forward, his calm authority radiating assurance. This was the moment that would define the operation. Every previous effort had led to this point: the final interception, the rescue of the remaining girls, and the end of the traffickers' scheme. The largest truck in the convoy approached the final checkpoint, its massive silhouette cutting through the night. Traoré's team was ready, positioned strategically on either side of the road. Volunteers held their radios tightly, reporting every movement. Officers stood prepared to act, their presence a silent but firm warning to the traffickers. Traoré took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility. This was the final chance to save the remaining girls. Every second counted. As the truck slowed, Traoré stepped forward, calm and authoritative. He raised his hand, signaling the driver to stop. The traffickers inside were tense, unsure of what awaited them. Traoré's voice cut through the night, "Open the doors. The authorities are here. Everyone inside will be safe." The words were firm but controlled, projecting the certainty that he and his team would protect the girls at all costs. The driver hesitated, panic evident in his eyes, but the coordinated presence of Traoré's team and law enforcement left no room for escape. Slowly, the doors opened, revealing frightened girls huddled inside. Traoré stepped closer, kneeling to meet their eyes and whispering reassurance, "You're safe now. Stay calm. We've got you." Relief washed over the children, their fear turning into hope. Meanwhile, the remaining traffickers attempted to flee, but Traoré had anticipated this. Officers intercepted them at nearby exit points, preventing any chance of escape. Volunteers guided the rescued girls to a secure location, wrapping them in blankets and offering water. Traoré moved through the checkpoint, checking on each child personally, ensuring everyone was accounted for. His focus never wavered, every life mattered. The night was tense, but the operation unfolded flawlessly. One by one, trucks were stopped, girls rescued, and traffickers detained. Traoré's calm leadership and strategic planning had turned a potentially disastrous situation into a successful rescue mission. The convoy that once struck fear into the hearts of the community was neutralized, and dozens of lives were saved from exploitation. As the last truck was secured, Traoré looked around at his team. Volunteers, officers, and rescued girls, all breathing sighs of relief. He knew the danger had not disappeared entirely, but tonight, justice and protection had prevailed. The traffickers had underestimated one man's resolve, and the girls had survived because of his courage, intelligence, and unwavering determination. With the last truck secured and all traffickers detained, Ibrahim Traoré shifted his focus to the girls' immediate safety. Volunteers and law enforcement guided them to a secure location, a temporary shelter arranged in advance. The girls were frightened, exhausted, and confused, but their fear slowly began to ease as they realized they were finally safe. Blankets were wrapped around their shoulders, water was handed out, and gentle words of reassurance flowed from every corner. Traoré moved from one girl to another, kneeling to meet their eyes. "You're safe now," he said softly. "No one will hurt you again." Medical personnel and counselors arrived shortly after, checking for injuries, offering comfort, and explaining the next steps. Traoré coordinated with them, ensuring that each child received care tailored to their needs. He also contacted trusted family members, verifying the girls' identities and confirming safe reunions wherever possible. Each successful reunion was a small victory, a reminder of why the operation mattered. Meanwhile, news of the interception spread quickly through the community. Residents gathered near the temporary shelter, anxious for updates but filled with gratitude. Traoré addressed the crowd briefly, his voice calm but firm. "Tonight, we stopped a dangerous operation. These girls are safe because of coordinated effort, courage, and vigilance. Let this be a reminder, our children are our responsibility. We must always protect them." The crowd murmured approval, their trust in him growing with each word. Legal procedures continued in parallel. Authorities processed the traffickers, collected evidence from the trucks, and documented the operation meticulously. Traoré oversaw the process, ensuring it was thorough and that justice would follow. The operation not only saved the girls but also exposed a criminal network, sending a clear message that exploitation would not be tolerated. By dawn, the girls were settled into temporary shelters, receiving food, emotional support, and guidance. Traoré remained on-site, quietly observing, checking on volunteers, and planning the next steps to prevent such incidents in the future. The community's response was immediate. Neighbors volunteered, local leaders coordinated support services, and a hotline was established for tips and warnings about suspicious activity. For Traoré, the night was more than a mission completed. It was proof that strategic action, courage, and community coordination could overcome even the most dangerous threats. The girls were safe, traffickers apprehended, and the community united. This was not the end, but a decisive step toward protecting lives and ensuring that no child would be left vulnerable again. The morning after the operation, the town slowly began to recover. The streets were quieter, the tension of the night still lingering, but there was a new sense of safety and hope in the air. Ibrahim Traoré stood quietly on a small hill overlooking the border route, watching as volunteers and officials coordinated to ensure the girls were safely relocated. The operation had been a success, but Traoré knew the work was far from over. Protecting these children wasn't just about one night, it required long-term strategies, vigilance, and community involvement. Over the next few days, Traoré met with local leaders, educators, and law enforcement to discuss the creation of a permanent protective network. They drafted a comprehensive plan, a 24/7 anonymous tip line for suspicious activity, rapid response teams for emergencies, and mentorship programs for young girls in the community. Traoré emphasized the importance of teaching resilience, awareness, and self-advocacy, skills that could help children protect themselves while also fostering a sense of empowerment. Meanwhile, the rescued girls were gradually settling into safe shelters. Counselors worked tirelessly, helping them process the trauma and regain confidence. Traoré personally visited each shelter, speaking to the girls in quiet, reassuring tones. He encouraged them to share their fears, their dreams, and their hopes for the future. "You are stronger than you think," he told them. "Tonight, the world tried to take your future, but we didn't let it happen. Your courage brought you here, and now it will guide you forward." The girls began participating in empowerment programs initiated by Traoré and his team. Workshops taught practical skills, including basic self-defense, navigating risks, and recognizing potential threats. Older girls were encouraged to mentor younger children, creating a chain of resilience and leadership within the community. Through these programs, they began to see themselves not just as survivors, but as role models, capable of influencing change in their own neighborhoods. The impact of the operation extended far beyond the town. News outlets reported on Traoré's leadership, highlighting the coordinated rescue, the arrests of traffickers, and the community-driven prevention efforts. People from surrounding areas reached out, inspired to implement similar protective networks in their own communities. Traoré refused to seek personal recognition. For him, the focus was always the children, the community, and creating systems that could prevent exploitation before it began. Over the following weeks, the traffickers faced swift legal action. Evidence gathered during the operation, combined with eyewitness accounts and the tip-line reports, allowed authorities to build airtight cases. Traoré worked closely with legal advisors to ensure that justice would be served without endangering any of the girls. The community's trust in law enforcement grew, and the sense of accountability sent a strong message: trafficking, exploitation, and abuse would not be tolerated. Months later, Traoré returned to the community center where many of the rescued girls now attended classes and mentorship workshops. He watched as they practiced their lessons in self-advocacy, taught one another survival skills, and even organized community events to raise awareness about human trafficking. He saw fear transform into confidence, despair into purpose, and trauma into strength. One of the older girls, now mentoring younger children, approached him and said, "Because of you, we believe we can protect ourselves and each other." Traoré smiled quietly, realizing that the true legacy of that night was not just the rescue of 10 trucks worth of girls, but the empowerment of an entire generation. By acting decisively, strategically, and with courage, he had not only stopped a dangerous operation but had also instilled resilience and hope in a vulnerable community. The programs he helped implement would continue to educate, protect, and inspire, creating a ripple effect that could reach far beyond the town, perhaps even the country. As the sun set over the borderlands, Traoré stood once more overlooking the roads that had seen so much danger. The trucks were gone, the traffickers detained, and the girls safe and thriving. Yet he knew vigilance was eternal. Every child protected, every life saved, was a reminder that courage combined with strategy and community action could change the course of fate. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by the renewed energy of a town determined to protect its future, Traoré understood something profound: true leadership was not about power or recognition. It was about standing up when it mattered most, protecting those who couldn't protect themselves, and ensuring that hope could flourish where fear once reigned. The operation that had begun as a single night of high-stakes rescue had grown into a lasting legacy. Traoré's courage inspired a community to rise, taught children to believe in their own strength, and proved that one person's determination, combined with collective effort, could overcome even the darkest threats. And in the hearts of every girl who had been rescued, his presence remained a symbol of safety, empowerment, and the unshakable truth that no one would face danger alone.